Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Yontah Pravesha Mama Vachamimam Prashuptam Sanjeevayatyakhila Shakti Dharaswadhamna Anyamscha Hastacharana Shravana Tvagadim Pranannamo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam. So, thank you. And Irene, thank you for joining us. So, I had so much in my mind and my heart that I wanted to share with all of you. But today I'm really, really called to share something very overwhelmingly, conflictingly, happiness, joy, and a little bit of not quite sure, like a little bit of sadness maybe. And that is because we had our beautiful Diane, and you can see her. She has gone on a little bit of a journey, more vigorously in the last couple of days, where she was a witness to a beautiful journey of her mother departing and transmigrating to another spiritual body. And I wanted to share a few observations that I have had, and then we'll discuss a little bit the yoga philosophy of the journey of the soul. So many of you know Diane. She met our beautiful Haripriya at a fair, at the farmer's market. And as you know how hearts are, a heart always connects with another heart. The mind connections may not last very long, but the heart connections are not just lifelong, but they're multi-lifelong. Because the heart connections are connections that are deeply spiritual. And it beats at the same spiritual frequency. And it can be on different planets, and you can still feel the love and energy of that person. And so this is how it works, you know. It's quite a fascinating spiritual principle. So Diane's mother, her name was Valerie. She was diagnosed with cancer, and she was going through the motions. And then she decided that she wanted to depart this world, which is quite a change in society from a normal norm, which just everybody wants to live forever. And she said, you know, I'm done and I'm ready to go. And when she made that choice, and she was shifted to a special hospice care within the hospital, and there she was surrounded by loving family and a beautiful daughter who loved her very dearly, and they had deep spiritual relationship. And I got to have this honor of being part of Diane's mother's journey. So in my training as a monk, we learned the art of helping people to go on to other spiritual realms. I also had that opportunity to do that with Loni, and I became very closely connected to her just because of this. Her father, one day he was talking, and next day he was saying goodbye to Loni. I became very emotional because it was so quick and so fast. And Loni got to do everything perfectly right for her father, assisted, of course, by her dear friend and teacher, Esther. And I thought how beautiful it is that Loni was not alone, and she had a community along with her to help her father through the process of having a divine life. Most people don't get opportunities to leave this world in such arrangement of spiritual arrangements where their path is cleared up for them to go to the highest realms of the spiritual world. And then now I also got an opportunity to be with Diane. I was messaging her all throughout the day and night, and she was messaging me back. I don't think she's been on the phone as much as she's been in the last 3 days, because I told her that she needs to update me every other minute, every other hour, few hours. And some days I would wake up in the middle of the night to message her to see, the progress and watch the transformation that her mother was going through. So few highlights of her mother's journey is that her mother was wearing this beautiful, divine mother of nature, this plant called the Tulasi plant. She was wearing a pair of neck beads. It looks like this for those of you who don't have, and some of you have it. We wear it on our necklace. It is a tool that continuously reminds us of our eternal relationship to the divine and Mother Nature. And she is the personification of that. And that means Mother Nature, she is the personification of love. And to know that you are always connected to that spiritual love is why we wear this beautiful Tulasi neck beads. And her mother was very, very fortunate because Diane was surrounded by a very loving community in Connecticut where she had so many people backing her up. You had Haripriya, you had Daksha, and you had Keshavi driving back and forth, bringing Diane food, drinks, clothes, and Tulasi beads, and the Bhagavad Gita, and Ganga water, all this paraphernalia to make sure that Diane's mother had the most beautiful departure from this world. Diane's messages was constantly, my mother looks so peaceful. And she would send me pictures of her mother clinging onto her neck beads. It's a very beautiful aspect of the journey of the soul, when the soul is holding on to the Divine Mother. Normally, when people leave this world, they don't have much to cling on to. And they're in tears, they're shouting and screaming, and there's a lot of fear. The mood is very sad. But in this mother's departure, Diane's mother, it seemed so beautifully, spiritually ordained. The Christian side of her family came and did all the rituals and did all those beautiful things. And then she got to do what she wanted to do, which was do the heart space meditation and do the chant mantras, Mahamrityunjay mantra. So this is explained in the Puranas, a very simplified version of how to help individuals that reside in this body, how to help them exit this material body and go into a spiritual body of eternality, full of joy and full of love. That is who we truly are. And that is what happens when we do this proper, simple yogic rituals. It's really simple, but it's tremendously impactful. So this is what I got to observe the last 3.5 days. And very soon, her mother will turn back into earth. Her physical remains will be burned by the fire and entered back into this earthly planet. And her soul has now departed for the spiritual world. And this is what happened. The journey of the beautiful soul. So now, little yoga perspective on all of this. We have half an hour, so I want to spend at least 20 minutes to share with you an incredible yoga perspective on this. So there is this great sage by the name of Narada, and he is telling this story to a great king. Sages and kings, they always had a very good relationship because the sages were known to be the wise ones, and they were always advisors to the kings. So he's advising the king. And what is the advice? He's talking about the journey of the soul. How the soul is continuously attracted to the city of 9 gates. We may not have enough time to cover it on this, so I'll break this story into half, and then next week we'll cover the other half because it's such a beautiful story. So the city of 9 gates, it goes from one life, one city to another, exploring the different offerings in the cities and try to enjoy the pleasures that is provided. Just like many of us in this world, we go from vacation places from one city to another, from one country to another, hoping to see something different, hoping to experience something different, to taste something different. So this is the journey of the soul. The journey of the soul is that it goes from one human body to another. So this human body is considered to be the city of 9 gates. So I will break it down a little bit more. So the story is of a king named Puranjana. Puranjana, Pura means city, Jana means the dweller. We are also Puranjanas, city dwellers, because this body is a city, and I'll tell you how complex it is. It's very beautiful. The irrigation system, the plumbing system, the sewer systems, the parks, and all of it is available. So the city of 9 gates is the body, because the body has 9 holes in the body, and these holes are considered to be the gates of the city. So the 9 holes in the body are, anybody want to guess? We have 2 lower and 7 upper. The holes are, you have the 2 ears, 2 nostrils, the mouth, and who else wants to take a guess? Yes, thank you, Najib, the eyes. And then there's 2 on the bottom. So 7 up top and 2 on the bottom. This is the 9 gates of this city. And each one of these 9 gates have the ability to receive and release things that are needed in the city and the rejects of the city. So I remember when I first came to America, I met a student at the Georgia Tech University, and she told me that she did her master's in plumbing engineering. She's a plumbing engineer, and I didn't realize that elite Ivy League engineering schools, they taught plumbing engineering. So she had a master's in plumbing. So, and I asked her, what is your job? He says, we create the sewer systems for cities and towns and massive buildings. And I was thinking, wow, this is like the human body, you know? It has to go through the systems, and finally it has to go out somewhere. And so she used to do this big, massive engineering project where she was in charge of the sewer system. So this body has very complex mechanism. And this body has 11 guards. And those 11 guards are the 5 knowledge acquiring senses and the 5 working senses and the mind. So this gate is guarded by 10 guards. And the 11th one is the mind. So the working senses and the knowledge acquiring senses. The working senses are the hands, the feet. Anybody else wants to help me? The hands, the feet.
Speech.
Speech, very nice.
Eyes.
Very nice.
Smell.
Those are knowledge acquiring faculties. Sabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha. The sense of sight, smell, taste, and anyone else remembers? Hearing. So the 5 knowledge acquiring faculties and the 5 working faculties, they're the 10 guards of the city and the mind. So the skin in the city are the walls. The city has walls because every city needs a wall. Otherwise, anybody can go in and penetrate and disrupt the harmony. So the city, the walls are the skin, and the hairs are the parks of the city. The nose and the head are considered to be the towers of this city. Every city has towers. And the depressions in the skin and the wrinkles are considered to be the canals and the trenches of the city. And the eyes, who wants to guess what the eyes are? The windows. They're the windows of the city. And the eyelids are the curtains. If you have windows and doors, you have to have curtains. And this city has houses and parks, and the city also has a capital. What is the capital of Netherlands? It's Amsterdam, right? Or no? No, it's not. Is it?
No, it's Haarlem.
Really?
Haarlem.
Harlem.
No, it's Amsterdam.
It's Amsterdam. Okay.
I'm sorry, I was a teacher. I don't know anymore. Amsterdam.
And the capital of Connecticut is Hartford, right? And capital of Georgia is Atlanta. So in this way, this body also has a capital city, and that capital city is the heart. And within the heart, sometimes we have many big dreams and ambitions in life. Material dreams and ambitions. They're like the high rises. So in the yoga term, when we ask someone, how are your high rises doing? That means, how are your material ambitions? So there's like this coded language. And the streets in this city of the body are the nadis. Nadis are the veins, right? Nadis are the veins. And the street lights, it also has, if you have street, you have to have lights, is the big junctions in our bodies. And the market in the city, anybody wants to guess? This should be an easy one. Anyone? Diane, you want to guess?
The stomach.
You're pretty close.
Intestines.
Intestines is the sewer system. So it's the mind. The mind is the market. Why? Because the mind provides unlimited array of thoughts and imaginations. And the floors of this market is made with all these jewels and emeralds, because those are all the various different types of material desires we have. And the resting place in the city is your consciousness. So in this way, and the city is made, it's very luxurious. So it's made out of 3 different metals. And the 3 metals of the city is gold, silver, and iron. So this city is very solid. And those 3 metals represent the 3 modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Goodness means gold, passion means silver, and ignorance means iron. So these are the 3 metals that the city is built on. So this great king, Puranjana, his guru is explaining to him that he has gone from one city to another, trying to enjoy what the city has to offer. And within this city, Puranjana meets this beautiful, lovely lady. She is so beautiful, decorated with golden ornaments, beautiful silken garments. And her name is Puranjani. Puranjani means the dweller of the city, but it's the female version that lives in the city. And that is her name, Puranjani. And what is she? She's also surrounded by 10 powerful soldiers, which is the 10 working senses, the 10 senses, the working senses, and the knowledge acquiring faculties. And each one of the senses have hundreds and hundreds of wives. And those wives are the hundreds and hundreds of material desires that each one of us have. So this is a small description of the city and Puranjana. And when he sees her so beautifully decorated, he immediately approaches her, completely bedazzled by her beauty and her charm. Because the material intelligence has material desires. And Puranjana is the soul that is going into the city, is the consciousness that is going into the city. So when consciousness meets material intelligence, there is a dialogue, and the dialogue is, "You're so beautiful. Can I marry you?" Immediately proposes to her. "But before I marry you, can you please tell me who you are?" And this Puranjani, she says, "I don't really know who I am, but I'm here." That is how the material world is perceived by all of us. We don't really know why the material world is the way it is, why we're so tempted by material glamour and glitz. Why are we always seeking pleasure outside? We don't know, but we're seeking, we're attracted. We are consciousness. We are Puranjana. We are the great king of our castle. We're the great kings and the emperor of our cities and our kingdoms. And we are having this dialogue with our material intelligence. Now, we're doing good time. And the material intelligence is very attractive because it's providing you all these material temptations. So the consciousness asks, the soul asks, we ask our material intelligence, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" And we want to immediately get into a relationship with the material intelligence and the material senses and the sense objects. And then this is how our journey takes place. We're in this eternal relationship with our mind and our senses. But we are this beautiful, powerful, spiritual conscious being, completely enamored by material intelligence and the mind and the senses, roaming from one city to another, from one body to another, trying to see what pleasures are there that we can usurp, that we can enjoy to the fullest. So this is what happens when a soul transmigrates. It migrates from one city to another city, to another city, to another city. So now, in this beautiful journey, we're discussing the importance of making sure that you enter the spiritual city. It's very important because all the cities in the world, they all have the same things in common. They provide pleasures to the eyes, pleasures to the tongue, pleasures to the ears, great music, beautiful scenes, great food. We can touch beautiful things. We can smell the beautiful aroma of flowers. Sometimes the open sewers of the cities. But so this is how our journey takes place. And the sages are explaining that why should you just go from one city to another, trying to enjoy? I remember Keshavi one time speaking with her life before her, like immersive yoga life. What was she doing? And she said she was a traveler. She's been to like 16 countries and she just likes to travel from one city to another, from one country to another. And that's what she was doing. And I was immediately thinking of this story of King Puranjana, where his guru is explaining to him, the soul just goes from one city to another. And eventually, when you find that spiritual city, a city that is designed simply for you to have eternal pleasures, not temporary pleasures. Because in this story of Puranjana and Puranjani, what happens is this king, Puranjana, he becomes so attached to Puranjani, so attached that next life he becomes Puranjani. Because the subtle body, your mind, intelligence, and false ego are the three components of our subtle body. And the template of our subtle body, our subtle consciousness, is what determines the next body. It is the template for your next body. So if you want to know what you're going to be in your next life, all you have to do is gauge where your consciousness is. Where's your mind? Where's your consciousness? Where's your false ego? So this story is very important because it gives us the principle of understanding how when you have material body engagements and we get super attached to that. Someone may say, oh yeah, so what's the big deal? I've become attached to material life. What happens is that when you become attached to something, it controls you. You do not control it. Just because you're attached to someone does not mean you can control them. Attachment means it either controls you or you control it. For example, the one I like the most is a friend of mine who was so fed up with relationships, and he just got himself a big house and got himself a beautiful little puppy because he was just he's like, all women are bad, they're just heartbreakers, and that's his narrative, like they're just all bad. Sour grape, So they're all bad. So what did he do? He gets a puppy. And we're walking. I went to meet him. We went for a walk, and he's bragging about his life, how much he's enjoying his single life, and how, he's not subjugated or controlled by any women anymore, and they're not going to take anything from him. And he doesn't have to take orders from anyone, and how he's the boss. And, he was giving me a whole story of this new life. And then I noticed his little beautiful poodle, his little beautiful poodle did a little woodle, little something, a little beauty came out of its body. And he immediately had to go into his bag and take out this beautiful plastic bag and pick up this warm beauty and wrap it up and carry it around till we came towards a trash can, and then he puts it in. And I was looking at him and I was smiling to myself, and I'm like, what an illusion that we live in. What an illusion we live in. He is thinking that he's not going to take any orders. And here this dog, she is the king of the house. When he goes to work, he was telling me, she gets to watch a big, beautiful TV. She sits on the couch while he goes, works hard, and pays money and pays for the mortgage and pays all the utilities. And when he goes on vacation, she goes to 5-star resorts. And she does nothing for it, just live. And he's claiming that he is the boss. But if you ask me, everything in his life, it was very much geared towards that the dog, the beautiful poodle, was the boss. Because he was working to bring money to take care of her. So he just replaced. So this illusion that we live in this world, this attachment that controls us, is something that the sages are saying, hey, just take a look. Let's have an objective look at this scenario. You are claiming that, you are free of attachment, yet you're attached to this puppy, and this puppy is controlling all aspects of your life. Wherever he goes, he has to make arrangements that she has a beautiful caretaker, or put him in a 5-star resort, and constantly worried to find her the best food, take her for a walk every day. So this is how the mind continuously takes us on this journey from one city to another city to another city. And this, some sages, is what they call the cycle of samsara, the repeated birth, old age, disease, and death. And to break away from the samsara, the cycle of life, the first lesson, the first step that the sages are teaching us is to ask the most important question. The most important question is, who am I? And this is why we're discussing this beautiful story of Puranjana. Do we, or should we just keep going from one city to another city to another city to another city? Keep trying to enjoy and find out who is actually the enjoyer. So the minute we ask this question, who we are, then more questions unravel in our world. And those questions will lead you to more questions, and eventually you will find this deep silence within your heart. And this deep silence will lead you to a teacher who will be able to explain to you how, through this practice of meditation and silence, you'll be able to find all the answers to life as to who we are. What are we doing here? Where do we go from here? Like Diane asked me, where's my mother now? Beautiful question, right? Where's my grandfather? Where's my mother? They were here and now they're not. Where are they? So these questions will lead us to the process of self-discovery. And when we discover ourselves, you'll find yourself seated in a beautiful throne, surrounded by this beautiful divine couple. And this divine couple is the personification of love. Love is not masculine or feminine. Love is both masculine and feminine. Love is not just a feeling and sensation. It is the core of who we truly are. We are loving creatures. And so this story of King Puranjana is illustrating this life that Diane's mother just went through. And when they leave this world, you will notice they leave this world through one of the 9 gates. And one day I'll tell you more about how you can guess, you can gauge what gate they leave this world through, and thereby knowing how far they are in their spiritual journey. And maybe they have already gone to the spiritual realm. Because there's so many beautiful indicators in our lives that are constantly giving us messages as to where we need to be and how we need to be and what will make us the most happiest souls in this world. And this is what the practice of bhakti is. Bhakti is the journey to the heart. Because that is where the capital, remember, the state capital, and whoever is in the capital makes the rules. So when you're in your heart, then you have control over everything in your life. When you're connected to bhakti, then you have control. But if your heart is not, you're not situated in your heart, you will not be in control. Because remember, the mind is a marketplace. What does marketplace means? Constant sensory exposures. It's an overdrive of sensory pleasures and attractions and detractions. And that's what it is. So if you get out of the market and come into your heart, there is no distractions. So this is our conclusion today, that the bhakti is a journey to the heart, and it can be a slow journey, and just take the time to come and enter this beautiful realm of bhakti. I know this year we're having almost 35 beautiful yogis from all around the world coming to join us, Europe and America mainly, to go to these incredible places. Incredible places. I would like to show you what spiritual heart feels like, what it looks like, what ambience, and how it completely transforms and transcends your existence. And so therefore, I am appealing to all of you to please always remain centered in your heart through your sadhana practices. And don't leave your heart. Because then you control the narrative when you're in your heart. And that's the best way to live. And not someone else legislating how you should live your life. Not your mind legislating the choices that you make in your life. It is your heart that should make the choices. So thank you very much. It is now 9 o'clock. So, I didn't realize we have 5 minutes. Any questions, or anybody wants to share anything, or any reflections, any giveaways or takeaways? We can have one maybe. Or if anything didn't make sense, we can elaborate a little bit. And next week, I'll talk about time, because I think it will be very important to understand how time works in the city of nine gates. It's a very beautiful. Esther, yes.
Dear Vedaji, you explained the heart makes the choices. But what if the heart makes choices and it still leads to some kind of attachment, or you are involved in things which cause you to be you are attached to it.
Yes, very beautiful. Beautiful question. So the heart attachment here, when we say that, we mean attachment to the spiritual. When our heart is contaminated by material intelligence, that means the material intelligence decides the course of the action of your heart, then the heart is hurt. So that's why we have to protect the heart with spiritual intelligence. And the spiritual intelligence means it's an intelligence where one's dharma, one's purpose, is the metric by which the direction is gauged. For example, you want to go and have ice cream at 11:30 at night. The material intelligence will say, you know what? That's the best way to party. To have ice cream in the middle of the night in the summer, it's so hot out. What a beautiful thing, and beautiful candlelit ice creams and beautiful lights and such a cool breeze. And, I get to be with some cool friends. Everything looks very rosy. Material intelligence. And the mind immediately goes, yes, yes, yes. And the senses are like, yay, everyone's in alignment. But the spiritual intelligence was not involved. What is spiritual intelligence? Well, the first question it will ask is, Esther, who are you? Are you the enjoyer? Are you really going to enjoy the ice cream at 11:30 at night? Don't you have to do yoga in the morning? Aren't you going to be tired when you wake up? What is your purpose in life, Esther? Is your purpose in life to enjoy ice cream in the middle of the night? So the spiritual answers, spiritual intelligence, is always asking questions that is related to who you are. Not your material intelligence is always driven by the senses. And the spiritual intelligence is driven by who we are. What is our spiritual nature? And that is where it becomes supremely rational. And then we're able to make decisions. Many of us, you'll notice, even when you fall in love, we fluctuate from material intelligence to a spiritual intelligence. And sometimes intelligence is not even in the equation, it's just emotions. We just see each other and we're attracted to each other and we just can't be without each other. Intelligence never had a say in that relationship. We were drinking together and I couldn't see properly and I was just attracted to her. Her voice just was so nice, it was soothing, and that's it. I'm going for her. And next thing you know, you're attached to her. Next thing you know, your life is completely surrounded by her. And next thing you know, what if she is an alcoholic? Or what if he's an alcoholic? But intelligence was never given a chance to have a say in that choice. And so therefore, we just went with our emotions and took our heart there. And the heart is just hurt. And so therefore, the sages are saying, please understand there's a huge difference between the mind and the senses and the spiritual intelligence. Puranjani, the female counterpart who are traveling in every city, residing in every city, is the material intelligence. She is the material intelligence, providing material options constantly. And so therefore, through our sadhana, what happens is we're able to take shelter of our heart from our spiritual consciousness, from our spiritual intelligence. Because we have tried everything in the material world. Imagine, we have been to millions of cities in the past. And those millions of cities in the past that we have visited did not give us satisfying pleasures. There was something that remained unfulfilled. And so therefore, our spiritual intelligence has to be our guide. And no one better than yourself. There's no one that can guide you better than yourself. Even a teacher. Someone asked me, Veda, what is your responsibility as a teacher? I said, my responsibility as a teacher is simply guide you back to your heart. Because you're hanging around in the market. You're lost in the market. There's too many things to see, too many food to smell, too many people to say hello to, and too many things to touch, too many beautiful music to hear. And so the teacher's responsibility is simply say, hi, Cynthia. I see you're having fun in this beautiful market. How about going home? It's late at night. You're going to need some sleep, and just basically guiding her back to her heart. And this is what bhakti is. Guiding everyone back to their heart. And this is my duty as a teacher to the students. So Esther, long answer to your beautiful short question is that yes, material intelligence can cause us to make wrong decisions, and our heart will get torn up, torn to pieces. It gets so torn up that we will never be able to fall in love again, because the heart gets filled with broken furnitures and broken pieces of glass that nobody wants to step on. That there's so many broken furnitures in our heart that there's no place even for you to sit. So the practice of bhakti is to remove the broken furnitures, remove the broken pieces of glass, the champagne bottles, the beer bottles, remove it all out of the heart so you have a place. So thank you so much. I just saw my friend, he just appeared. You can see he's under viral media. Gauranga Karuna Sindhu is his name. It's an incredible personality in Bulgaria. He's got one of the biggest marketing companies in Bulgaria. And he's organizing a massive retreat for us in Bulgaria. It seems like there will be almost 3,000 people coming to Bulgaria to join us for a bhakti retreat. And it is his brainchild. And I'm simply an instrument coming there to share whatever little I have in my heart. So thank you all for joining us. I'm truly honored and grateful to each and every one of you for giving me a little space in your heart and a little space in your mind to tolerate me for almost 35-40 minutes of my rant. And I look forward to seeing you next Saturday. Namaste, everyone.
Namaste.
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 Oh,
Namaste.
we have another
Namaste.
beautiful soul.
Oh.
I see another beautiful soul. He's an incredible soul in Bulgaria. He's like an inspiration. I guess there he is. You can see Mahendra Das, also in Bulgaria.
Naja's other daughter is there too.
Oh, natural.
She's more beautiful, so definitely.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a beautiful weekend. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste.